Robert, remember when we talked about stopping immigration to Canada?
Yes.
Well, in hindsight, it looks like it may have been a solution that could have solved the current situation that we're in. And on this episode of Real Estate Chat with
Jonder Perez.
and Robert E., we're going to tell you just how bad, and not our words, but the Financial Post's words, Trudeau botched immigration surge, Canada's top bank economists say. So actually, economists are saying this, right? And this article we're going to link in the description for our Real Estate Chat viewers to dissect and digest. Very interesting one, but the gist of it is because Robert and I are real estate brokers in Toronto and we talk about housing. And of course, on past episodes, make sure you subscribe and like so you never miss any of them. Talk about inflation, housing, interest rates, all that. But Robert, did you know Canada accepted about 455,000 new permanent residents in the year up until October 1 of last year,
Keep
brought
going.
in 800,000 non-permanent residents, which
A
includes
category that includes, keep going.
temporary workers, foreign students, and refugees. Population growth rate of 3.2%. I think that's our own internal population, if I'm not mistaken, or is that aggregate?
Total.
Total 3.2%, which is huge.
Keep going. Next paragraph.
Next paragraph, while there are annual targets for permanent residents, there is no cap on international student permits, and the government has made it easier for employers to hire temporary foreign workers. I mean, what's going on? And what does that affect, Robert? It affects schools. It affects business, the infrastructure that you need. Secondary school funding was mentioned in this, and all sorts of community programs and all that sort of stuff. But the biggest thing here, Robert, is housing affordability, which leaves the Bank of Canada in a difficult spot. Why it has to cut rates in 2024, even though housing costs are still forcing inflation above. So, Robert, if everyone listened to us and didn't think we were being evil by saying stop immigration, because I'm an immigrant,
Oh, my grandpa's an immigrant too. Like everybody's an immigrant.
and unless you were born in Canada when it became Canada, you are an immigrant. We're not saying it because of whatever reason. We're saying it because if you can't keep up with the people that you're bringing in here and providing them the proper resources, and also taking care of the people who are already here when it comes to housing, what kind of policy is that, Robert?
Okay. It's a policy of tomfoolery. What we learned from this article. Now, this article is a summary of comments that were made at a panel of economists on the 11th, yesterday, talking about things that are happening in Canada right now. So top of mind for everybody is the cost of everything inflating, being more than it was last year. Housing is one of the things that are inflating. Everything is going up. What are we going to do about it? We now have higher interest rates than we had. Were the low interest rates bad? Were the high interest rates bad? So what are we talking about? So they ask a panel of experts, and the experts who've been studying this nonstop say, well, we had a neutral, good situation. We were ideal, and then we started messing around with it. And we messed around with it as if there was one thing, the need for non-permanent residents. Now, permanent residents, everybody understands. It's someone who's decided that they're going to come and they're going to live in this country and they have a job and they have a support system and that they need a permanent resident. And then we also understand refugee on the opposite end. These are persons whose circumstances in their home country are so dreadful that they will uproot themselves and go to this frozen tundra and are looking at the good graces of Canada to take care of them in this time of need. Now, in between time, you've got this non-permanent residents. Now, non-permanent residents, foreign students. Now, foreign students pay a huge premium to get their education in Canada from wealthy parents somewhere else because Canadian university education is worth something. It's better than the local university degree. Perhaps they learn more, but it actually has more punch when you're trying to get a job. It also can be a pathway to citizenship, and then that citizenship can be an anchor baby for the rest of the family to come and get. Anyway, it's a whole monkey business of the immigration system. Now, also, the government made it more, lowered the standards for non-permanent temporary workers so that if you can't get somebody to do the muckraking, you can get temporary workers to do it at a lower price. And they made it easier. So there's all kinds of these non-permanent residents, but they all need a place to live. Now, if they knew that's what they're going to do, because what they're trying to do is force up the GDP, because all of the readings for all of the things that the government is doing wrong are measured compared to GDP. Now, with GDP, we've talked about a few times, saying that if there's a forest fire and you have to spend all kinds of money to put it back the way it was, that boosts up the GDP, even though it's not a good thing, it's a bad thing, but it boosts up the GDP. And if all of our numbers are being measured against GDP, then that's what we want to boost up. So these well-meaning idiots in Ottawa that are setting government policy are trying to solve the policy for the government, not for the people. So they're pushing GDP. Now, can you solve your problem by pushing GDP? Can you solve your problems by having non-permanent residents? No. Can you solve your problems by having refugees? No. So now we have a housing problem where the price of everything has gone up because people have speculated in buying extra ones because the prices are going up, and to provide housing for, except as the prices go up, now the price you must command in rent in order to make your investment work goes up until it comes to the point where nobody can afford it anymore. So, oh my goodness, it's a mess. Yes, it's a mess. And we got to deal with it. And one of the ways that they wanted to stop the speculation, buying rapidly, was to increase the cost of borrowing. So they increase the cost of borrowing, and that affects everybody running a donut shop as well as everybody wants to buy a condo on spec. And so it slows things down. Now they're at the inflection point of saying, okay, have we done enough damage with these interest rates that are like as a percentage increase from 0.5 to 5%? That's a huge percentage increase. It's much bigger increase than from 11% to 14%, even though it's sort of the same math. It's not. It's the payments anyway. So if now we have our top economists saying it out loud at the Toronto Economic Club, it won't be long before they can say it on CBC, and the whole people will have this in their mind that something was mismanaged terribly and we were not fully informed about when it comes time for the next political decision to be made. So that's not today. It's not tomorrow, but it's coming soon. So if the economists will say it out loud, read what they're saying, read why they're saying it, and maybe I'm all on one side of this. Maybe I'm giving you a fair and balanced point of view at it. But it's not about immigration. It's about non-permanent residents. Okay, immigration means coming to the country, but there's different categories, and you're being branded if you go against this immigration. See, Steve Tabrizi said it in the last two ago analysis for all of Remax Hallmark of what's going. Immigration's too high, you got to cut it back down. But there's categories, you have to cut back some of the categories. That's why we have a million too many, because 500 too many non-permanent residents, you don't need them. Okay, so does that answer your question?
Well, it does answer the question, and political decisions may not come in this year. Maybe they pull the trigger and say, "Hey, yeah, let's make that political decision happen," or next year. But there will always be sides that favor immigration and people coming to Canada, and so
Of
you got
course, people, it's a great place to live because it's a free country. It's a free country right next door to the United States. And that's why it's so good. It's like Hong Kong was in the last century. We're in between Europe, we're in between the Far East, we're right next to the United States. If you want to do anything, you can do it here.
the land of the free. But remember, there's always going to be a side that's going to vote yes, pro immigration. The other side will see from, I guess, a logical business perspective and a well-being perspective that it has to be sustainable. But as you suggested, Robert, the moment you say something along the lines of stop doing this or stop doing that,
You're racist.
You get labeled. I wasn't going to use that word, but you get labeled. I mean, if I'm saying it and I'm an immigrant, it's because obviously I'm not racist.
But you're a permanent resident. We got to stop talking about immigrants as some kind of a second-class citizen. It doesn't matter where you came from. It matters how you live when you're here. It doesn't matter the color of your skin, your religion, whatever. It matters how you live when you're here. If you're bringing your problems from the old country to the new country, you're not behaving like a permanent resident. That's who we are. It's socioeconomic. It's not about culture. It's about socioeconomics.
There you go. We talk about more than real estate on Real Estate Chat. Thanks for watching this episode. These are, of course, interesting discussions that spur from this. So feel free to leave in the comments what you think, and share this with anybody who you think would benefit from understanding it. Because this year, 2024, we will talk about the real estate implications to the decisions that the government makes and how you can benefit from opportunities by identifying those opportunities in the market. Thanks for watching this episode. Take care and bye for now.
See you later.